Hello, this is Tiara, and today I want to talk about this book, Artist's Way. Maybe that'll be a thumbnail, I don't know. I've tried reading this book before, but I was like, I just didn't feel like doing none of the tasks. I did the morning pages, but everything else, I was like, I don't feel like doing this right now. Like, sometimes you're just not in the mood to self-improve. And my sister ended up doing it that time, and she'll always like exclaim like how much it helped her. She's like, T, you have to do the book. T, you gotta restart it. T, you have to do it with me. And I'm like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. I'm not gonna be a good accountability partner because I know I'm not gonna do it right now. Like, I'm not even gonna like fib to myself about it. Like, I just know myself to a certain extent. And so yeah, I didn't do it that time, and she did it. And this is when she first started like making music, and she realized she had blockages up because she was a digital artist, but then she stopped doing that completely, and she reached success. Like, but she was like, I don't want to do it no more because I guess she started getting triggered by it, so she doesn't do digital art anymore. But when she was starting this book, she was doing music, and it really helped her. Like, she was gaining some creative momentum because she was like making a song every day. She was learning how to mix and match. Like, she was doing all the music stuff. So I guess this book really did. It helped her tap in. So I'm starting it now, and I plan to like do it all the way through. This is the beginning of the first week. So in my mind, I want to do like a weekly check-in to like, you know. So if I want to look back on this, I'm like, well, I remember when I did that and it was cool and it helped, or it didn't help. I'm not gonna know how it helped until after I finished doing it. So the first week, the first chapter, also you have to do like tasks every week, and this week's task is like doing morning pages is something you're gonna do for the entire book. And she said she hopes you see it as a tool to utilize after. Right when you wake up, you write your stream of consciousness. So like whatever you're thinking, just write it out. It's kind of like you hitting a little mental reset, because I know every time I wake up, I'm always thinking about the stuff I didn't get to do yesterday, the stuff I need to do today, the stuff that I need to do but I know I'm not going to do. And it's just heavy. Everybody isn't like that, but me personally, that is something that I experience. So with that, I was like, girl, I'll be journaling anyway, so that's a breeze. I have 3 pages easy. You need to fill up the 3 pages like full capacity. Like, I'm not supposed to be showing you my pages, but it needs to be like that for every page. It needs to, don't be trying to skimp and get no little bitty notebook journal. No, get a full size. I love moleskins. Is that some moleskins? Well, you know what I'm talking about. I love those books just because I don't know, I just like the little, you can see this one been rolled hard. I be taking my journals with me, whether I write in them when I go somewhere. I don't know. Sometimes I do, but a lot of times I bring them out, I don't even write in them. It's just like the thought of like, I want to be one of those people who just have a strike of inspiration and write it down. Usually I use the notes app on my phone for that, so yeah. But you just write stream of consciousness pages like that, and you write 3 every morning. And that helps you to see like what your reoccurring issues are, because we kind of think about the same things every day. We just have like these key things in our life that are gonna reimagine themselves in our like physical reality. Just if you have the same problem, you're gonna keep on running into that problem, whether you have lack of boundaries, whether you have self-doubt. Your interactions with people and things and opportunities, it's just gonna keep ending up the same way because you're not changing your approach to it. Because I feel like this book, it does, at least so far, it involves spirituality, or like this idea of a creator. And for me, I'm not off put by that because I'm a spiritual type person. Like, I just believe in that type of stuff. As far as like the universe, creator, source, all those type of words. Mind you, this book was written like 25 years ago, if not more. I think they just had their 25-year anniversary. Is this? Yeah, so this book is kind of like old, so it's not no new. It's not like TikTok trend of this stuff, which also I don't think is bad, because I mean, if people want to get in touch with their spirituality, let them. When they start trying to capitalize and get other people to like, I don't know, that's a different topic. But with this book, it does mention that, and it's kind of like you just get into that idea of like the inner child of when you're a child, you're very creative and you're very like free and expressive until you're taught not to. And that's just because, I mean, we're fresh in this world, we're using all our senses, we're very excited. I was very excitable. I always wanted to go somewhere with whoever. I just wanted to go places and experience that. Like I was a child that was trying to get up and go. So like after so many experiences, sometimes people aren't supportive of that in a child. You just get fussed at one too many times, you get left at home too many times, whatever it is. And I feel like this book is probably will be helpful in you kind of going back to that and untangling some stuff. I'm a person, I've done like shadow work before, which is really just like you being your own therapist, like journaling or thinking about things thoughtfully and trying to get to the root of the issue. I feel like this book is doing that, but in the creative lens, like it's going to help you get past those art blocks, supposedly, like allegedly, hopefully. For me, I've been having an artist block for like I don't even know how long. It's probably not that long in the grand scheme of things, but for me it feels long because I could always bounce back and make something cool and make something like heavy with like layered meaning and this and that. But these past few months, really probably the past year, because last time I was working on a project and I like how that came out, but since then I haven't made anything that I feel like was a completed painting or art piece. And I'm a visual artist, I'm a painter, and I feel like all of my stuff, it just falls flat. I just can't make nothing go. And so I was like, okay, let me do this artist way, because me just trying to sketch and me trying to do this and that, it's not working. And I do have a couple exhibitions coming up, so I kind of do want to make some stuff to go inside of the exhibition. And I can make work fast when I'm on a roll, so I'm not too worried. But I do want to get in the pathway of creating something. So I want to start this book this first week. I've been doing the morning pages pretty consistently. I might do it 1 or 2 days, but overall it's been consistent. I'm trying to remind myself not to be too hard on myself about missing, not to say not being consistent, but like missing a little check off list. So you're supposed to do it every day. I miss a couple of days. Usually I'll be like, okay, well, F it. I'm just not gonna do it because obviously I can't do it every day. Now I'm like, okay, you miss a couple of days, just pick it back up tomorrow. Or just write it down. Like just loosening up rules, just making it easier for myself to complete it in some capacity. So I missed 2 days. But I'm not letting it be a big deal to myself. One of the tasks, like I said, you have to do tasks plural every week. And one of them is doing an artist date. Artist date is basically you spending time with yourself intentionally and doing something that you would consider fun when you were younger. So don't try to make it all artsy, and unless you really, really want to do that and you're excited about it, do what you're excited about. But it can be something as simple as watching a movie with yourself. Don't invite no company, don't invite no friends, no siblings, no significant other, don't invite nobody, but it's you being by yourself. Like you just having a little date, like you treating yourself, get a little popcorn. I'm planning to do one of the suggestions in the book. It said to get like $5. It said go to your local five and dime store. I guess it's like a dollar store, because I never heard of no five and dime store. I ain't never heard of it. So I'm gonna just assume it mean dollar store. So I'm gonna go to the dollar store and get some little fun trinkets, probably some stickers, because I have been wanting some stickers, but I kind of didn't. I went to Michael's, it didn't have none I wanted, but I'm probably go there and maybe get a little candy bar, and act like somebody gave me $5 when I was 7 and said, go get whatever you want. You're a kid, you like that kind of stuff. So I think we'll do that and maybe get a sushi roll, because I've been wanting sushi for a hot minute. So yeah, that's gonna be my artist date for this week. You're supposed to do it every week. And the tasks are really like, what is it? It's like basically you writing, at least this first week. So list 3 old enemies of your creative self-worth. Please be as specific as possible in doing this exercise. Your historic monsters are the building blocks of your core negative beliefs. That's one I decided to do just because it was number 3 on the list. So I was thinking I'll just go down the list and do as many tasks as I can this week. Because she also said you don't have to do every task, but at least do half. So I started with that one. And yeah, as I was thinking about this, I was like, they didn't have to do me like that. And I listed 3 people who or 3 experiences where I feel like I wasn't supported creatively. Like I've had a lot of good experiences so far, thankfully, but I've had a few that I remember that I don't know if that was it wasn't that great. So I decided to do that when I wrote that down. So the first one is when I was still in grade school, and I was homeschooled for the most part, but I did go to a couple grades. I think this might have been 2nd grade, possibly. I don't know. Basically, on Martin Luther Luther King Jr. Um, there was a drawing contest, and basically each class, I guess they was gonna pick like the best drawing of Dr. Martin Luther King, and then they would get like a prize. And so we were all drawing, and I remember I was just so. We also had a picture of him that we were like helping to like make it look like him. And I remember from my picture, I was like, oh my gosh, like I remember just working so hard and like really trying to make it look good. As a 2nd grader, you can only draw so well. And I remember, I think I was using crayons or markers. It was something like, back in the days, like brown colors weren't necessarily made for skin tones. It was just like this dark, muddy brown. But I used that anyway because I didn't have any other options, and I didn't know how to mix effing crayons and markers. So I was drawing Martin Luther King, and I was drawing. I was really trying to copy the picture, and I think it was like a black and white picture. I just remember it had like a shadow on his, like it had a dramatic shadow on his face and neck, and I was like, oh, it's so cool. I was like, I'm gonna draw this shadow. So I drew the shadow in, and I'm really working. Like I just remember like head down, pen to paper, I'm working. So I'm working hard. I'm really trying to paint this shadow in and make it look like cool in real life. Taking my teacher, and mind you, I'm really proud of this. And I show her, I can't remember exactly what she said initially. I just remember showing up the paper and holding it up to her. And she might have said something like, oh, good, are you finished? Or, oh, nice. Like, it wasn't nothing enthusiastic. And I was like, okay. But I remember, like, I feel like she was looking at it with another teacher, and I just remember them kind of laughing. I'm thinking, like, why are they laughing? Like, I worked really hard on this. And she was talking to the other teacher. She was like, kind of like I wasn't even there, low-key. She was like, yeah, it looks like Dr. Martin Luther King got burned. And I was just like, burned? Like, I was kind of concerned. I was like, what do you mean? Thinking to myself. And she was like, yeah, it looked like he got burned on this one. And they kind of laughed. And then she kind of gave it to me back. And I was just like, I'm looking at him like, burned. And I feel like I wanted to explain so bad that I was like, he wasn't burned. Like, I was putting, that's the shadow. Like, I was really concerned about them wanting to know it was a shadow. I was very sad and disappointed. And I really didn't want to explain that he wasn't burned. But I guess I was at my art, like I didn't know how to draw, I guess. And as I was thinking, like, I was like, oh, that was pretty mean as a teacher to do that to a 2nd grader. Because obviously I wasn't that big if I was in 2nd grade. And another thing I didn't like, because that was white. And I was a black student. The person who won was like, oh my, it's giving racist. Thanks, Mom, for homeschooling me after that. Our teacher at a community college just was a white man. He would always point to my work and assignments, and he would call them boring. I remember trying not to get sad or offended, because I'm a young artist. I'm maybe like 18 at the time, 18, 19, something like that. I remember trying not to get offended, like, okay, this is critique. Like, you're supposed to get feedback, and it's not always good. And I was asking, like, okay, if it's boring, how do I fix it? And he was like, that's your job as an artist to figure it out. And he was like, do anything and just figure it out. That's what you do as an artist. And I'm like, I guess I'm really concerned because I'm really trying hard to make this stuff look kind of cool. Like, I'm trying to make it look kind of accurate to life. Like, again, this years and years later, I'm really working hard trying to do this. And he was like, just figure it out. That's your job. And he kind of laughed with a little thump, walked away. And I was like, okay, that wasn't very helpful. That wasn't helpful at all. He was like, draw a line through it and see if that does anything. And I drew a line through it. I'm like, now what? Like, I don't get it. I feel like something that would have been more helpful to like a young artist is not to explain how something is boring, but kind of like you could say, like, mess with the coloring, like make it more dramatic or make it more like think about doing things intentionally. I feel like he could have gave me some type of something to work with. Because although I am an artist, there is a logical thing that kind of happens when you're making stuff. You can do a lot intuitively, but even that comes from somewhere of your understanding. So I feel like he could have said something about make a pattern, do something with repetition, or make something bigger, make something smaller. It doesn't have to be exact to like he could have gave me something to work with, but I was just sitting there lost. He also said, he also lost one of my assignments after he was supposed to be grading it. And as I was trying to explain which one of mine was, he kind of cut me off and was like, well, if I don't even remember it, that means it wasn't that good in the first place. And that should tell you something. And I was just like, yeah, but he did that to everybody. Like, he was just known as that type of teacher. So yeah, that was another person or another experience. The last experience is, I don't know, it didn't feel supportive. This was like a professor at the college I went to, and I think I came to his office hours because I needed more help on this method of art. It was printmaking. I was like, okay, this is kind of hard for me. Like, it's very particular, very meticulous, very clean edge, and it's just hard for me to do. Like, I be playing like this, I be just going crazy. And with this, you gotta be so tight. And I'm like, okay, that's hard for me. I need a little help. And so I went to like office hours, and he asked to see some of my painting work, and I showed him because he was like, yeah, you could bring painting techniques to printmaking, and you could kind of bring your own thing to this. I'm like, okay, cool. Here's some of my painting work. Here's some of my collage work. Like, I showed him a couple different things, and he looked at it, had a small smile. He looked at me, and he was like, you're such a beautiful painter. You can be so brilliant, blah, 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 blah. Nice words. I'm like, okay, thank you. It sounds like a butt is coming pretty soon, so what is it? And he was like, well, you're really focusing on like this little, like this romantic, because at that time I was painting pictures about me and I just got broken up with, so I was painting pictures about that. And I will say they were some good paintings. So he was saying that for what? Those were some good paintings. As I could look back, like those were solid. So anyway, he was like, yo, why are you painting pictures about this romantic, like this relationship type stuff? Like, I mean, this is okay, but as a Black young woman in America, you have such a specific, what did he say? You have such a specific perspective on society today that is so valuable and should be shared. And I'm thinking like, what? You want me to focus on, at that time, that's when like people was getting shot in the, like, not to say that's not still happening, people were literally getting shot in the street and by the police and dying. Why do I want to think about that day to day, like as I'm coming to class, but also paint about it? Like, why do I need to be trauma 24/7? So in that like experience, I was just like, if it was invalidating my perspective view on what I was making art about at the time, and I think being a young artist, I don't know if that's completely helpful, because I feel like a good amount of times you're going to shift to what you need to do as you get more mature as an artist. So for me at that stage, I don't know if I really listened to him. I think I tried later on to make a painting that was about the political unrest, but that came from a place of me really trying to like have a voice in this, in that, when everything was happening, like when COVID had first happened and people were like protesting, I was like, wow, I really want to add to this as an artist. And it still didn't. I did other stuff like donated to like the GoFundMe's and like I did that kind of stuff and shared information. But as far as like painting about it, I'm like, I'm just not connecting to this. Like, this is very like sad and depressing. I don't necessarily want to make art about society as a whole. I'm more of a very like, I'm thinking about my perspective of things, my experience of things. And that is like a more society larger issue that when I was painting it, I just couldn't, it just was like, it wasn't good. Like, I was gonna like, it's not good. Like, why am I painting? Now, then I think back to that, I was painting, I was like, why am I painting this? I think back to that and I'm like, why did he tell me to paint this actually? Like, why would you want me to traumatize myself every time I think about painting something? Everybody is different. You don't have to paint about traumatic things to be traumatized, but yeah. So I feel like that person, maybe he didn't realize what he was doing. I don't know. I give people the benefit of the doubt way too easily. But I will say that as I've grown now, a couple years outside of that, I realized that me painting romantic relationships or familial relationships is political in itself, whether I want it to be or not. Thinking about rest as a Black woman artist in America and how we got here and how we always was expected to work and how we still get paid less than other people and like a whole lot of things. Me painting about rest is very political because who said we allowed to do that? We have to make our own allowances. We have to make our own opportunities. Like it's a lot of layers, a lot of weight. So that being said, that was my third experience. So I was like, wow, I really wasn't supported. Like he really told me to make work about a completely whole different thing that he did not see me currently interested in my artwork. He said, stop making work about this and make something a little bit more important to me. And yeah, so girl, I will say that doing this artist way, I'm already knowing it's about to be mentally like about to be exercising and jogging and running, because sometimes I don't feel like reflecting and doing all this kind of inner work. I know, I understand it's better for you to do it because you're thinking about it anyway, and it's going to help it get pulled out of you so you can see it for what it is without it being stuck in your subconscious so deeply. But do I feel like staring that up and staring it in the face? I don't know, but I am tired of having an artist block and not being able to make paintings and feeling stagnant. I do know that much. So I'm gonna do this little bunk, and like I said, this is just the first week. Low-key, it should be the end of the first week, but since I was like, I didn't do none of the tasks. I just did halfway the morning pages, so I'm gonna do the tags for this upcoming week, or the tags from the first chapter, so I can move on to the next chapter. So yeah, how do I feel about initially reading this week and starting the task? I feel like this will definitely be a journey. I'm really hopeful in it helping, and I'm excited to see myself on the other side making some good, fun, beautiful work again. It's giving a lot of shadow work and a lot of retrospect or self-reflection. So am I ready for that? I don't know. We're gonna see, but that's where the mind at right now. That's where it's at right now. So Artist Way, thanks for watching. Bye.